let's start with the hottest of topics that may or may not be an actual topic, but it is June 25th, so everything's a topic. Brandon Auk Mania. Where do you stand?
I mean, I never want to discount anything, right?
Sure.
Never want to discount anything. But I think it's well known that they're really, really good friends, right? And that Jaden said he was going to go back to California for some throwing sessions. He's from California. I know Brandon Auk happens to play in California. So I think it's a, pretty realistic scenario that they could just be like hanging out.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. But, man,
it's not as exciting as,
Yeah, we want to move on, but we just can't.
Yeah, there's nothing else going really.
Yeah.
There are the Olympics though, which
that's been good.
No.
Do you have Olympic fever, Nikki?
Fever would be a strong word, but I do like watching the trials right now because it's all the things that I could never dream of doing, right? I mean, of course they're Olympians, but like even at a much lower level, I could never do any of this stuff. So I always like watching it.
Well, because
you could do the pole vault.
Oof. I like anything that includes running fast, jumping high, jumping far is a no-go for me.
Just in the way that like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, my brain is wired that everything is 6 degrees from the burgundy and gold. So just watching last night, I believe you had Benjamin St. Juice's wife at the qualifier because her sister won the heptathlon.
Was that her sister for real?
I believe that's her sister. Yeah.
Anna Hall is legit. She was like one of the best athletes to come out of Colorado.
So that's a really cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the little 16-year-old kid from here at Bullis.
Yeah. But B and I were sitting at the bar last night we were watching the hockey, and then they had the Olympic stuff on. And I was like, yo, I think that's BSJ's wife. So that was just kind of a fun surprise. Then we were also watching, and Randall Cunningham, who's often compared to Jaden Daniels, Randall Cunningham's daughter was in the high jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable.
How about that?
These people are freak athletes. Anna Hall is unbelievable to watch. Like, I think the heptathlon is one of the most incredible events to be able to do all of, to do one of those incredibly well, but they can do so many events.
8 different things.
It's unbelievable.
I used to have a trainer when I was in Philly that used to do the heptathlon. And so she would work out with me. It's the hardest workouts I ever done because, you're running with the guy. If he beats you, he beats you. You're running with a lady, you're not going to let her beat you. And I would work so hard, and I go home and go to sleep every damn time. Because she'll be like, I'm running, she's right there. You can't leave her running like the 330s we were running. She'll be right there the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what they do. And Anna Hall's been like a stud for the longest time. I think she was like the Gatorade Athlete of the Year multiple times.
Talking with Nicki Jhabvala here from the Washington Post. You can give her a follow at Nicki Jhabvala, NICKI JHABVALA. Nicki joins us via the BetQL guest line. Sports betting has come to Maryland. Don't place
Can you spell that without looking at it?
I could try. All right, my eyes are closed. You want me to try?
Yeah.
I just read it, which helps, but it's complicated, which hurts.
And you keep talking, so it's going to be off. Go ahead.
NICKI. Do I get credit for that part?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. JHABVALA.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I did just read it. I've killed a lot of brain cells, but the short-term memory.
It's a lot of A's in there,
It's true. B and I were just going through some of the most overhyped storylines of the summer, just around the league. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
I feel like there's been even more this summer, too. I was talking to Standig about this, and I hate to be like the bear, like such a Debbie Downer, but there's just a lot of like made up stuff.
What's the top of the list for you then?
Well, for me, like Jaden Daniels he's looked great. Like I always feel like this time of year, no matter who you are, whether you're like Peyton Manning or, a 7th round rookie, like it always needs to be, you're gonna look good when there's no real defense coming at you. But there are noticeable difference. I hate the ones where it's like people around the league are losing their minds over how great Jaden Daniels was. And this is coming from somebody who has never been to any of the OTA practices or mini camps. And like, some of it is just like, it feels like it's sort of made for television or made for.
There's a lot of content machines that got to get wheeled out there, you know?
Yeah. Like, you know, the ball has not once hit the ground. Well, it has, but like, come on, like, can't you say he looks really good without like the embellishment? That's the part that gets.
Well, you know, that's the thing we do now. We embellish things.
Yeah, I know.
And then we come back later and we say, well, you know what people were saying, and it's us who said it.
Brian has gone out of his way. Honestly, a lot of it more off air than on to tell me over the years, and I probably sound like a broken record with it now, to really not draw many conclusions from the spring practice sections. And I think one thing I liked, and I don't mean this to knock Ron, but it inadvertently does, is Ron, whenever there was a perceived pedestal, he would place something upon it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think in the end it ended up hurting him, because when it was later proved that the pedestal was made of tinfoil and it collapsed, that it looked bad to him. I liked how DQ was almost fairly dismissive of the perfect attendance. Like, that wasn't like a bragging point. That wasn't a feather in his cap. And
yes, I agree.
And when he talked about, you know,
that's like trying to have somebody applaud you for taking care of your kids.
Right.
It's your damn job.
You're supposed to
be there.
That's the Chris Rock bit. It's the best. But then DQ also, when he's like, you know, how much ahead of pace are you? He's like, I don't know, maybe a percentage. Like things start in training camp, and I just appreciate the honest approach he's taken, at least so far.
Yes, I agree on all that. The one that still will always miss me is, like, Jaden Daniels was taken number 2 overall in the draft to a team that desperately needs a quarterback and that really loves him and that has really given him all the first team reps. Was it ever a question that he's going to start the season? We know this. He's known this. Wherever he's going to go, he was going to start the season. Like, I don't know why we need the coach to, like, say that publicly.
Totally agree.
But the dude's going to start. Everybody knows it. Like, is it really a storyline?
Everybody's looking for, like, the sound, like the retweet button. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They just want to be like, you know. I feel like so much of this is engineered for Twitter or whatever the hell he calls it now. X. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse.
You apologize for hell. Have you listened to this show before?
You can say hell.
I've tried to be like more like civil and adult like lately.
You're a mom now. You're trying to clean up your act.
I know.
Hey,
it's
Nicki,
been really hard to get rid of 4-letter words.
As you get closer and closer and they get a little older, you use a lot of words because they're going to make you say them.
Do you want to, Nicki? This might help. And your guy's a little too young to start negotiating, but you all know me well enough that when I'm not on the air, my vocabulary includes a number of 4-letter words. One of them more than the others.
Yeah, I had to warn y'all the other day.
So same here, obviously. I just don't want his first word to be a 4-letter word. I feel like that would be a bad look.
Unless it's mama.
I've had that.
Correct. Yes.
But so Shelby's 8 years old now and has been hearing me talk for cognizantly probably 5 years or whatever. And so the deal we have, because occasionally she'll hear something and she'll say, Daddy, you're not supposed to do that. And I'm like, listen, baby, as long as you don't curse, I will curse and it'll even out. And then we got nothing to worry about. Because it's the same amount of curse
2 more
words
years, she
going into
see right through that BS too.
So far, she's
That's
with
a next level spin job, JP.
I recommend you go ahead and try that.
Mommy, Daddy said this, then you're in trouble.
I mean, that we've crossed that Rubicon. What do you think the thing that we're not talking about with this Commanders team that actually is a big deal is?
I mean, I don't think it's been completely absent from the conversation, but I do think the left tackle, the general O-line situation, I think that is, it's still, it's a concern because there's just not clarity there on if anybody can man that spot consistently and well. And just coming off a year where the O-line generally performed poorly, especially in the beginning. I say that with a massive caveat that the entire offense, including especially the play calling, was atrocious. So they were given no favors there. But, that will always be a concern, especially with a rookie quarterback, a quarterback who took a number of hits in college. Where the Commanders go will be determined by Jaden Daniels. So keeping him upright is of the utmost importance always. But, for their future, especially this year, it's of utmost importance. So the left tackle spot is still a concern for me, at least.
Do you think Coleman can emerge as the guy, or do you think it is going to be?
I think he can emerge. I just don't know when. And that's, again, the hard part with spring is that in the D line and the run game. I mean, you don't really get any sort of gauge of where they're at with that until they put pads on. So I think at least until the first week or so of camp, we won't really have an idea of where this kid is at, and where the team feels that spot is at, because they could very well add to the position, as rosters are formed and there are more guys on the waiver wire. Now, like the guy they want, a star player is not going to come available typically on a waiver wire. These are the players that other teams didn't want. So you'll probably get depth there, but I just don't think you can really get a good gauge at this point. But I definitely think it's possible. They drafted him for a reason. So we'll see. I think Cornelius has had his moments where he's been quite good at tackle, and I don't think you can, undersell like how difficult it can be just to be a consistent swing tackle and to switch in game within a series, even from left to right. And he's been asked to do that multiple times. So he's certainly capable, in my opinion. And I would not be surprised if he starts the season there. And if, it continues, you stick with it. And if things take a turn, you make a switch.
I think that the scheme could help the tackle some until you get the right one. And I don't think that happened last year or the year before.
I agree totally. They talked about, finding ways to help the line with the scheme and never actually did it.
I agree. I mean, I think last year was such a mess, but there were so many kind of messy, broken points along the way that it is just a really fresh start. And I think because of that, there are real reasons to be excited.
Yes.
We were just having
yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, anytime you listen to Terry McLaurin's interviews and he goes into detail and he's long, incredibly articulate, if you really listen to him, he explains every little thing that went wrong and every little thing that was different. Like, I wish I just had like one of those bells to ring every time he hit a point, like ding, 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 like every single one.
Remember post game of the Giants game up there?
Everyone. And he says it so well, and he's not like bashing anybody, but he'll tell you honestly if you really listen to him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're going to zoom out real quick because we were just having a pretty interesting conversation on this, and I think it's kind of hard to get an answer. Who wins the AFC East, Nikki?
Ooh, AFC East. Question. I'm going with Buffalo.
Even though there's one player that's caught a pass from.
Yeah, I mean the Jets are. Oh my God, the Jets are the Jets. The Patriots are in rebuild. I still don't trust Miami. I think they have gobs of talent. I still don't trust them to be consistent and get it done.
Who are you
like
picking?
If Tyreek Hill is hurt, they're done. We saw that.
And I think losing Wilkins kills them too.
Yeah.
Who are you picking in the AFC East, B?
I said it earlier. I'm going with I said Buffalo then I switch it to the Jets because if Aaron is back healthy and the defense is good, I think they'll be the better team because I think that losing those receivers are going to hurt Josh. And then when we flip it on to the other side, their defense has had too much pressure on them all these years. And I think every once in a while, if you had a year or two great defense, they fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Pop quiz. Last season, who had the longest streak of games, consecutive games with an INT?
Mean like a team?
Player.
A player?
A quarterback.
Deron Bland?
I go with Bland.
No, I'm saying the quarterback throwing interceptions.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to go with Josh.
Nikki?
Yeah, I feel like if you're asking, it has to be Josh.
Sam Howell, 7 straight games with a pick.
Oh, I do remember that. That was bad.
Jimmy Garoppolo, 6 straight games with a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen threw an interception in 9 straight games last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were right.
I think I like the Jets, too. I think the Jets 1-53 is better than the Bills and the Dolphins. I think the Bills 1 is better than everybody. I think the Dolphins 1 is better than everybody. But I think the Jets 1-53, if depending what you've got in Aaron Rodgers and the ayahuasca and the immunizations, I don't know about that.
I just think the Jets will always get in their own way.
Yeah, they're the
As
Jets.
Somebody who wrote a glowing feature on Nate Hackett way back when, I think he could possibly get in his own way at some point.
I think we have seen this.
More than likely he will.
I can diagnose this from far away. You've got ownership that causes trouble.
Correct.
Whenever
I just
owner
think
gives
they're a dysfunctional organization. Again, as somebody who's covered a dysfunctional organization.
Right. Yeah. when an owner gives the quarterback more power than the coach, you're not going to be very successful.
Well,
although I do wonder if in some situations the quarterback will inherently have more power than the coach. Like, I mean, when Brady was in Tampa, I would argue he had more power than the coach. I mean, I don't know this. I mean,
yeah, but Arians was also uniquely situated to kind of deal with that and bark back, you know?
Correct. Yeah. No, he was the perfect personality for that. Yeah.
Like, I mean, in Baltimore, Lamar is a powerful dude, but Harbaugh is like the right balance to that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
How about a little off, a little touched?
Right. I think, I mean, Mahomes and Andy are the perfect balance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Mahomes, there's been a rumor that he basically go on just curse fest on the sideline. And he comes up to him, now that's enough. And he shuts it down.
I think if things go sideways, say the Bills miss the playoffs, say the Bills go 8-9, who you think they're getting rid of, Sean McDermott or Josh Allen?
Sean McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I don't know. Interesting times. Nikki, me and B are going to run through some of the underhyped stories league-wide. Next, are there any you would say that people aren't talking enough about?
Gambling. I mean, it's not
like
really a
sexy
topic, I realize, but I mean, the fact that an umpire in Major League Baseball was caught, betting on games, that would be a real eye-opener to me if I were the NFL. Like,
did they wipe that under the rug? I haven't heard that one.
We will examine next. Good idea, Nikki. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you.
You bet. See you guys.
That's our friend Nicki Jhabvala from the Washington Post.